Ladies and gentlemen, when we talk about the successful startup, and of course, in another side, it's a failed startup. As you are the entrepreneurs and startup business, you are in the middle between the success and failure, right? It's a time that we'd like to bring you to come and join with us for the keynote speech, The Road for Successful Startup, Lesson Learned from 500 Failed Startup. This would be a very interesting session that we'd like to convey the insightful and challenging experiences and lesson learned to everyone. In our speakers on this stage, I'm very honored to introduce the owners of Yozma Initiative Consulting. Mr. Yossi Shavit, he is the founder and he is very expert from the early stage startup in the field of IT, and the firm deliver high quality professional services while focusing on cyber mobile, internet, and big data. And here is your ultimate choices to come a long way with him. Ladies and gentlemen, it's now time in welcoming on stage Mr. Yossi Shavit from Yozma Initiative Consulting from Israel.
Hi guys, it's great to be here. Thank you very much. It's an honor for me to be here. Today we're going to talk about a very interesting topic, which is why startups fail. Just a little bit about myself. I am the CEO of Yozma Consulting. Yozma Consulting work with startup and multinational from all over the world. And I'm leading a few frameworks which focus on entrepreneurship and innovation. Among them, the Benji Center for Entrepreneurship and Innovation, which is the first entrepreneurship center in Israel in an academic institution. In Negev, which is one of the top acceleration programs in Israel. And BGU Innovation Lab, which is the hub of the Ben Gurion University, one of the leading universities in Israel. Now, over the years, I met hundreds of startups, and I came to an understanding that there is a few insights I want to share with startups which want basically to change the world, to make it a better place. Now, I want to show you a picture. This lady is an entrepreneur, and I was wondering if you could tell me what she's doing. What she's doing? She's an entrepreneur. Okay, let's make it a bit more interesting. The one who will tell me will get a prize. Okay, yeah. She what? She's a wake-up service. Give me your hand, okay? This is great. And you are going to get the Startup Thailand mascot. Great. Give me a hand. Great, thank you very much. So, this lady is a wake-up call service, and this picture was taken 100 years ago. Now, basically, it's important to understand what is a startup before we start talking about why startup fails. Now, a startup is a scalable kind of business. So, looking at this lady over here, she is not scalable. She would probably be able to wake up 50, 80, 100 people each day. But she won't be able to be scalable. Now, a startup is supposed to be scalable, and it means that in the first day, he will have 50 customers. But at the end of the first year, he will have 20, 30, 40 million people. Now, in order to be scalable, you're supposed to prepare. Now, if you look on the name of our conference, Startup Thailand, look what they're saying here over there, scale up. Scalability is the basic thing when you are starting a startup, and in order to be scalable, you're supposed to think about some of the things that are presented here, okay? For example, automation. Can you think about, for example, eBay working with each and every one of their million buyers and sellers if they have a problem? No. They're supposed to automate the service. Now let's talk about a product. If you are trying to sell a product that's supposed to have a lot of service, one-on-one communication, you won't be scalable. It will be very hard for you. Now, one of the main problems, for example, for countries like Thailand, the startup in Thailand, for example, is the fact that they are focusing on a very small market called Thailand. We're supposed to think about the world as our market when we are preparing to start our startup. Because a country which has something like 10, 20, 60, 70 million people is not enough. An investor won't invest in us unless we have a very big market, a market that grows in a fast way, okay? Now, we're supposed to have resources because it costs a lot of money to work with the world, and this leads us to this. In order to be scalable, just as I mentioned before, you're supposed to born global. I come from Israel, the startup nation, but this startup nation is a very small one. We have less than 9 million people. In Bangkok, you have 10 million people. So you have more people in Bangkok than in all Israel together. Now, this is a very small country. We can't see ourselves as our market, okay? So our startups born global. For example, when we are starting a startup in Israel, in some of the cases, you will be able to see that the team talks between themselves in English. It's really important because they are getting ready to the investor to work with clients from all over the world. You're supposed to be ready. Now, for example, if you are trying to become a born global kind of startup, you're supposed to think about the pain. Because pains are really different from one place to another. People think about these pains, about these challenges in a very different way. And if they think about things different, and you will try to sell them the product that you are trying to create, they won't understand what to do with them. And then later on, they will go to the competition because they're giving them better solutions. Okay? Now, uncertainty is part of the game. You are starting something new. No one really knew it before. They have different ways that they solve the problem. But the uncertainty comes because you are starting something new. And the uncertainty could lead you to fail. Now let's talk about some kinds of uncertainties that you're supposed to deal with. You're supposed to think about in advance. You're supposed to conduct a market research to find all the problems, all the uncertainties, okay? For example, in regards to the market, who are the customers? What they want? How do they feel about your solution? What are the rules? Okay? What is the cultural aspect behind what they are going to use? Okay? Competitors, for example. Every place in the world have different kind of competitors. For example, most of the world use WhatsApp, but China use WeChat. Okay? Everyone use different things. Everyone have different views about things, about love, about time, about how we're supposed to have relationship with our wives. Everybody think about things different, and we're supposed to understand it. The market size, is it big? Is it small? Even if you have a huge market, but it's getting smaller and smaller, no one will be interested, okay? Now, there was a very interesting research that in which more than 100 startups were interviewed, and they asked the startups why they failed. Now, of course, this number are not summing up to 100 because they had several reasons. But in 42% of the times, the startup said that there was no market need. And this is a huge problem if you are trying to create something that the market doesn't really need. You think it's good. Your mother tells you, it's great, I will buy it. But the market says, well, no, I don't really need it, okay? Now, you're supposed to figure out if the problems that you found is really a big problem, okay? Got out-competed, okay? We have better competitors. You're supposed to think about the competitors, not only the ones that you have right now. You're supposed to figure out what will be the situation in 2 years from now, because you are starting the R&D process right now. In 2 years, hopefully, you'll be in the market. What will be the situation there? You're supposed to think about this kind of things, okay? Now, regulation, my startup, one of my startups, failed just because of regulation. The market wanted, the trend was wonderful, there was a huge market, but the government said, well, you can fly drones using an automation system, sorry. And then we came to the investor and say, well, Google think about it, Amazon think about it, and they said, well, whenever the government of, for example, Japan, for example, Thailand, for example, the US will say that drones could be flown by automation system, come to us, we'll give you the money. But we didn't have the time, so we failed. So we need to figure out what are the regulations in regards to each and every aspect of the things that we are trying to do. The product and process is really important, okay? What kind of technology you are going to use? In some cases, we see that we prefer to choose specific technology and base our product on it because the CTO knows this technology, but basically we could think about better technology to use. Complementary technologies are very important as well because you don't have a lot of resources, you don't have a lot of time, you don't have a lot of money. Maybe you could use complementary technologies that would make the process of the creation of your new product a bit faster. Okay, suppliers. Do you have good suppliers that could give you good materials of things that you need in a price that you will still have profit margins? This is really important. Okay, and of course the financial aspect. Going back to this research I talked to you about before. 29% of all the startups say that we don't have the money. Okay, we burned out. Okay, so basically startups can fail because a lot of uncertainties, and you should keep in mind that you're supposed to think a lot before you are trying to start your roadshow, start to present in front of investors. You're supposed to have a very strong market research because based on this market research, you will be able to formulate very, very good strategies, ones that the investor will understand and will want to use. Okay? Now, as many uncertainties that you pull out of the table, your chances of being successful getting bigger and bigger. Now the team. The team is very important. The team is very important not only for the success of the startup, also to the investor. 50%, I believe, of the decisions made by the investor are based on the team. Let's talk about the team. The team's supposed to deliver his idea. It's really important. And we're supposed to think about a lot of things. Synergy, for example, it's really important. If we know how to work together, it's really important that each one will bring something different to the table. You can't have a lot of CTOs. You can't have a lot of marketing people. You're supposed to have a commando team. Each one knows to do something different, and they all know how to work together. Okay? Another thing is devotion. In Israel, probably you won't be able to get an investment unless all the people, all the team, is fully devoted to one thing and one thing alone, which is the startup. They work for months, even 1 year, without any salary. They leave their work in multinationals just to promote their idea. Now, devotion is very important. What is the learning skill? Just one tip. Think about it. If an investor asks you something or suggests something, say, well, this is a very interesting idea. I need to check it. Because if you are not willing to learn, you will fail. You always need to learn. Okay, social capital. What is the strength of your network? Who are the people in this network? Can you call somebody in order to help you to talk to somebody? If you have a question, can you talk to somebody about it? Your social capital is very, very important here. Okay, experience. Wonderful. By the way, the chances of you getting an investment for a smart investor is getting higher and higher, even if you failed in your last ride, okay? If you failed based on a startup that you tried to promote and it failed, you have an experience. You learn how to do things. You won't do it again. So it basically, you're supposed to have a lot of things, but how should I say it? You don't have enough resources, so you're supposed to think twice before you bringing people to your team, okay? Because it's really important. As you can see, 23% of all the startups said, well, we didn't have the right team, and this is what led to our failure. Now, when we're starting a startup, we're supposed to understand the differences between visions and goals. Startup think about changing the world, bringing a solution to a very big pain. And this is great, but this is a vision. What is the most important thing that the startup is supposed to think about? Basically, investment. 98% of all startups in Israel fail to get the seed investment. Out of these 2% that succeed in getting an investment, 27% basically will get the second investment. Now it takes a few rounds until you being successful and get to the market, but look at the chances of doing that. Less than 1%. And it's a shame. You probably will fail. So it's really important to get ready to this ride, okay? Now, what the investor look for in a startup? Basically, it's really simple. All the things that we just mentioned. He wants you to be a scalable kind of business. He wants you to have a very big market, one that grows very fast. He don't want any uncertainty. Keep in mind, the investor is basically a risk manager. He's supposed to say no. But before he say no, he asks a lot of questions. And if you don't know something, well, there is a risk. There is a mine just waiting to explode. And he won't take you. You need the best team. By the way, many of the investors will tell you that they would like to think about you and them having a beer in the, or enjoying the ride together. Okay? So it's really important to have a good team, a synergetic team. Okay? We're supposed to show our investor who become part of our team, basically, what is our vision. And we're supposed to know that he is in line with our vision. But he also looking for traction. What kind of progress you already have made, okay? If you have LOI, letter of intent, if you have customers, if you have a prototype, it's really help him to lower the risk. He sees that you know what you are talking about. He knows that you can do it, you can deliver. It's really important to him. And the strategy, of course. And the strategy is based on a very strong market research. There are a lot of limitations when you are starting a new startup, and you should take that in mind, okay? You have a very small team, you don't have a lot of money, so if you're thinking about becoming a new Google, well, you probably will, but it will take some time. In the beginning, you're supposed to be very focused on something specific, and by that, you can be successful with the limitations that you have. The fact that you don't have money, no one knows who you are, you don't have any kind of brand that you can use, okay? And you're supposed to have resources. And you're supposed to know what are the resources that you have. Just like going to war. If you don't have a lot of resources, probably you should leave it, okay? This is a very nice guy, okay? I don't know him personally, but Charles Darwin, he said, it's not the strongest of the species that survive, nor the most intelligent one, but the one most responsive to the change. It's really important that we will all take this in mind when we are starting a new startup. We are going to change many of our assumptions. We are going to change just about everything we thought. If you will try to think about what you started with and what you've been successful with, it's two different things. You started with something and then you change it a lot because you understand the market needs something else. You understand that you're supposed to focus on different customer segments. Many people, many startups, thinking about a platform. I will create a platform. No. People don't need a platform. People need a solution. An application, for example, could solve a problem. A platform, you know, this is a vision, focus, okay? What kind of channels we are going to use in order to get to the customer? What kind of technologies we are going to use? You are going to do a lot of pivots. It will be hard. You will be sad. You will lose a lot of time, money, resources, but you will have to pivot. Keep that in mind. If you want, you just perish. This is the idea. There are all types of researchers in regards to pivoting. Some of them say that you're supposed to have at least 2 pivots before you're being successful. Others say even 5. But all of them say that you will have a pivot or 2. So keep that in mind and see that as part of the process. Summarizing everything, what are the main reasons of being a failing startup? Or basically, let's talk in a more positive kind of way. What would lead you to be successful? You're supposed to be scalable, not think only about your country as the market, okay? You're supposed to be global because you understand that you're supposed to be big. Go over all the data that you have. Conduct the best market research that you can. Call potential clients, okay? Talk to people. Lower the uncertainty in what you are doing. Gather the best teams that you can, the best team. Have a very good vision and goals. Find an investment. Keep in mind that you will have a pivot and know your limitation. Now you probably say, well, Yossi, so it's so risky. Our chances of being successful is 0.2%. So why start all of this? Because you are entrepreneurs. Guys, this is what we like to see. This is like a roller coaster, okay? We don't really want to take it, okay? This ride is very, very scary. We are afraid, okay? Our hands are shaking. So why do we do it? Because we believe that we are going to change the world. We gather a team, we have our first MVP. Everybody say, wow, it's great, because they're our friends, okay? And then you understand that the customers don't really like it. And then you change a little, and you have the first customer. You are very, very happy. And then it's really hard to find the second and third one. But the investor look at you and say, well, this is a very interesting thing that you have here. I want to invest in you, and you start R&D, and in most cases you fail. But if you are a real entrepreneur, this is what you are going to say. Okay, that was the best ride of my life. I'm going to do it all over again. Okay? And this is what makes us, my friends, the superheroes. We are entrepreneurs. We are real entrepreneurs. We will fail, but we will rise again, and we will change the world. Thank you very much, guys. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Mr. Shavit, could you allow us a couple minutes for the question from the floor? Because I found your session is very interesting. มีท่านใดมีคำถามไหมคะ มีท่านใดอยากจะถามคุณชาวิสไหมคะ Anybody would like to ask him? Yes. Well, I think that everybody here would like to face having conversation with you. Once again, we have the question from the floor. Can we? Yes, it's lady first, please. เชิญค่ะ
Actually, I would like to go back to the part that you gave presentation on that say that you suggested that the startup should be born global.
Yeah.
And basically, like, it's very interesting example that you gave from Israeli. And my question is that say, in general, like when you start having an idea, most of the time, like, it's coming from something that you are familiar with or having some background. But like, say, in your case, that say, like, the people in your country, they start having an idea to solve the problem in some other countries. Mm-hmm. So my question is that, like, at that starting point, what's the mechanism that they use to kind of like get into talk to the customer in the market that they are looking for.
It's really easy. Would you like me to see how it's getting done? Okay. Hi. How are you? Great. What is your name? Santi. Great. Where do you come from? Bangkok. What is the biggest problem that you have in your life?
The biggest problem
What
that I have.
keep you wake it up at night?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think it's the
To your wife?
traffic.
Oh, the traffic. Wow.
I think most
Whoa.
of Bangkok
The
people.
traffic is wonderful. I can say nothing bad about Thailand, but the traffic. Okay, thank you. Give him a hand. Okay.
Thank you.
Just a minute. I didn't finish. Okay. You are not from Bangkok. I'm pretty sure. Okay. Where do you come from? Ireland. Do you have problem with traffic in Ireland?
No,
No. Why do you think you don't have traffic problems?
it's not enough people.
There are enough people. I see. Okay. What do you think about the traffic situation in Bangkok?
It's different.
It's different. Okay. More challenging. Okay.
Yeah.
How would you solve it?
I wouldn't get in it.
Oh, this is a great idea. Okay. Wonderful. So you see, what I'm doing here is starting a conversation with people. Okay. We could use Facebook. We can use the messenger. We could send all types of surveys. Okay. Because now it's easy. We can just send a link. Please fill a form. 4 simple questions. That's all. Okay? And I have to finish because there is a nice guy over there. You can see. Oh, give him a hand. Okay? He said time up. Okay? And I had the great pleasure to be with you today. If you have any question, please, I'll be over there. And I'll be very happy to talk to you because you are a great audience. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much once again, Mr. Yossi Shavit. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the next session will be conducted in Thai. And once again, gentle reminder, everyone, for your convenience and clear understanding, we have the simultaneous translation receiver available for you in front. So please feel free to contact at interpreter service desk in front for your convenience as well. สำหรับ